Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're taking a look at the Ossiarch Bonereapers, and in particular, the Ivory Host subfaction. Now in this video, we're going to go through the special rule that makes the Ivory Host special for a Ossiarch Bonereapers force, and then we'll take a look at a couple of units we recommend to get started with for this subfaction. We'll then look at a couple of other units we recommend that you can use to expand upon those first couple of initial purchases. And finally, finishing off the video with a little sample 1000 point army list to hopefully give you some inspiration for starting your own Ossiarch Bonereapers army using the Ivory Host subfaction. And so, the special rule we get is Simmering Rage. This adds 1 to the number of hits scored by the Netherite weapons and battle trait by friendly Ivory Host units if your unmodified hit roll was a 6 and any wounds or mortal wounds were allocated to that unit earlier in the turn. So, the Netherite weapons battle trait, what this does is, effectively every time we roll a 6 to hit with Netherite weapons, we will generate 2 hits instead of 1. This means we'll generate 3 instead of 1. Now there is a designer's note saying that this ability will only trigger on the 6s, so if you have it sort of combined with something like Empower and Netherite weapons, which normally triggers the ability to work on a 5+, you will still only generate 2 on a 5+, but you will generate the 3 extra hits altogether on any 6s. And so, where to get started? I actually think Arkhan the Black is really fun to take inside this force. And the reason is because we are going to have a large amount of units with Netherite weapons, which generally will be our troops, and like Mortek Guard that we're going to talk about in just a second. Arkhan the Black has some definite abilities that really will go down well combining with them. First of all, his Mortek of Sacrament ability. In your hero phase, you can pick up to 3 friendly Ossiarch Bonereaper units whole within 24 inch. If that unit's not in a Mortek Guard or Necropolis Stalker unit, you can heal 3 wounds allocated to that unit, or if no wounds have been allocated to a model in that unit, you can return a number of models, slain models in the unit up to a wounds characteristic of 3. So you can effectively return 3 lots of Mortek Guard to 3 different units. This just keeps them in the fight that much longer. Now, also, you can actually return models and return wounds to your Necropolis Stalkers and Mortek Guard, which is really fun. So he's got some abilities there as well if you want to bring in some of those bigger things. Now, he's also an amazing wizard. First of all, War Master on top of that, he always counts as your warlord. But the wizard, the fact that he can cast 3 spells, unbind 3 spells, but also knows the entire Ossiarch Bonereapers lore, makes him incredibly versatile. You also add 6 inch to the range of spells cast by death wizards while they're held within 18 inch of him, so he even boosts your other wizards. And the Staff of Spirits value shown on the damage table you add to Arkhan's casting values, his dispelling and unbinding. This could be a +2 bonus to start with. Feaster of Souls, each time he fights, after all attacks have been made, you can heal the number of wounds allocated to this unit equal to the number of wounds or mortal wounds caused, so pretty similar to how vampire units would work in the game. But on top of that, he still is a Mortek, so he's got a few attacks there. Zethkar and Kanashan are going to give him some damage 2 attacks, not a lot of them, but your Ebon Claws are still going to put out 6 attacks, 4s, 3s, Ren 2, damage 2. So, he's not the best fighting monster in the game, but he still is something, your opponent actually has to put something decent into him, or he will just chew through them. Now, going alongside Arkhan the Black here, Mortek Guard are the obvious place to go. A fantastic baseline unit for the army. 1 wound each, 4+ save. They've got Netherite blades or spears. The difference here being the Netherite spears will have a 2 inch range. I personally, if you're going to start building this army, especially if you're looking to get bigger in your units of Mortek Guard from what we show in this army list, I build them all with spears, and just while you're playing your first few games, use them as Netherite blades while you've only got units of 10. When you start going up to 20 and 30 model units, I definitely think about having these spears be used. Now, you do have the core command where you can ignore the negative modifiers to your force, which is really fun. But Ren 1 standard, they're packing out 2 attacks each. There's lots of ways to give them buffs, and you got to remember they've got those exploding hits and lots of them. Generally, what's really cool about this combination is you've got a nice defensive solid base. Mortek Guard are great on the defense, as is Arkhan, who can provide them with some nice debuffing abilities. And so the other unit that's going to have Netherite weapons as its core weapons are going to be the Cavalos Death Riders. This is a cavalry unit, and their big thing is they will get to do some mortal wounds on the charge. Every time you roll the charge roll, they roll a number of dice equal to the unmodified charge roll. For each 5+ on those, they make the enemy unit suffer a mortal wound. They have 3 attacks with each of their Netherite weapons. They have spears and blades the same. You've got the extra reach for your Netherite spears if you're going to go in larger units. Now they do have the cool ability where they can actually move over enemy units with a wounds characteristic of 3 or less for a command. This can effectively count them as if they fly when they're moving across them, gives them a really great versatility moving across the battlefield. Now to join Arkhan, a Moristhan Soul Boneshaper is a really great character to bring to the table. What this one's going to provide you with is someone who can help Arkhan keep your troops alive that little bit longer. Now the Mortistan Boneshaper, its big ability is going to be the Bone Shaper ability, as its name would suggest. What this does is you can pick a friendly unit and effectively heal 3 wounds. Same sort of rules as Arkhan for healing, just it's on 1. And you've also got the Shardstorm spell where you can do some nice mortal wounds, a good horde clearing spell. The Liege Cavalos is a decent fighting character. It's got the cool unstoppable charge ability, much like the Cavalos Death Riders. You also get a free command point every turn for it. That you can spend on an Ossiarch Bonereapers unit, and a command ability that allows you to add +1 attack to a friendly Ossiarch Bonereapers unit, which can really turn up the damage our Mortek Guard units put out. Lastly, the Endless Spells. There is a variety of them for the Ossiarch Bonereapers. The Soul Stealer Carrion is one of my favourites, where models with wounds characteristic of 1 or 2 within 6 inch cannot contest objectives, though this has no effect on Ossiarch Bonereapers. Death Incarnate for the Nightmare Predator is just some nice mortal wound damage dealing, and the Bone Tithe Shrieker will stop the Rally and Inspiring Presence commands working around it, and also you'll subtract 1 from ward rolls for units within 12 inch. Both of these abilities, though, don't affect your Ossiarch Bonereapers. All of these Endless Spells will also have something called Bonded, where the Endless Spell is bonded to the model that summoned it. A bonded Endless Spell is always controlled by the model which it is bonded. A model cannot be bonded to more than 1 Endless Spell per its time, and then you can also, if the model that summoned the Endless Spell is removed from play, then the Endless Spell is removed along with the model it's bonded to. And so here we have our sample army list, obviously going with the Ivory host, Shaiish as our Mortal Realm, Allegiance, Ossiarch Bonereapers, all that you expect. Now we've gone for the grand strategy, defend what's ours. This is a defensive one. We've generally got a more defensive focused army here, so I think trying to keep enemy units out of our territory is probably the best way to go. And we've gone Triumph for Inspired. +1 wound can be really nice on those Mortek Guard, especially since we are generating exploding hits. 980 points, 20 points under. Good chance we actually might get it. Now, first of all, we have Arkhan the Black, Mortarch of Sacrament in our force. Really nice, strong caster. And then a Mortistan Boneshaper who's going to be our general. Now, we've gone for the command trait Dark Acolyte. This can only be put on Ossiarch Bonereaper Wizards, but in your hero phase, the first spell this general attempts to cast in that phase, if it's successfully cast, it can't be unbound. It should be really cool. We've also got the Artisan's Key, which effectively allows him to use his ability twice, so we can really start bringing back lots of Mortek Guard. Effectively, 2 of those Mortek Guard units every turn can bring back 6 models. We then have Empower Netherite Weapons. I think this is the most useful spell to have a double up on. This is just going to allow us to have access to, it in multiple places if need be. Aspect of the Champion, stubborn as a Rhinox to count as 10 models on objectives, and then Battleline 3 units of 10 Mortek Guard, and they're joined by the Soul Stealer Carrion as an Endless Spell. Really, you've got enough points for any of the Ossiarch Bonereapers Endless Spells, so you can pick whichever one you want in here. Everything is wrapped up in a Battle Regiment for a 1-drop force, though, with 20 points to spare. A nice, fun Ossiarch Bonereapers force, and it includes Arkhan, who is an absolutely awesome model. And so, that is the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, drop a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and the fantastic little community we have here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server that's linked down in the video's description for you all to come join and hang out and hobby with us all. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so either by Patreon, YouTube members, or by grabbing some merch from Teespring or our Ko-fi store, all of which are linked down in the video's description. Also, there's some fantastic ways in a bunch of our videos, depending on what game system you're looking to get in. We have a bunch of affiliate codes linked down in the video's description of associated games and companies as well. And if you'd like to help support us via them, that would be greatly appreciated. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out for your continued support. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Suarez, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. And to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, Davis Weir, James Tillman, Gargamel196, and Disco. A massive thank you to all of you for your continued support. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, to everyone who comes on and does all the battle reports and all of the podcasts with us as well, and indeed to everyone who helps make our Discord server a fantastic place to be for all hobbyists. Thank you once again for watching, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.